After 6 months, we're back, and it's time to play some more games.
But Jeff, we've already played so many games. What's there left to play?
Nick, there's one game I think that's got a bit of attitude that I think you might just like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Nick vs. Jeff is back for season 3, baby!
Woo! It's morphin' time!
Team Jeff!
Team Nick!
Nick vs. Jeff!
Hello and welcome back to the Nick and Jeff show. I'm Nick, and joining me is the handsome Jeffrey. What are we doing, Jeffrey?
Hey, Nick.
What are we doing this week?
Pardon?
What are we doing this week?
We're gonna be mighty, and we're gonna morph, and we're gonna be nostalgic about Power Rangers.
So, do you want to say it?
No, because I don't know
pathetic.
what you're gonna say. Tyrannosaurus.
He wasn't expecting
Yeah,
to
I
have that,
don't
were you? Just pull it out. Look at it in all its glory. If you're watching the podcast
No,
version.
you're the one with the props.
I know, right? Well, this is a much cooler prop than anything you've ever brought up on the show.
Okay.
If you put batteries
So
in
we're
it too, if you put batteries in it too, it does the song. Anyway,
So we're gonna be
moving
talking
on.
about Power Rangers once and always. But first, Nick, if you've
Yes.
gotten this far, hello. Leave a
Hello.
comment, give us a thumbs up, and you can find us on youtube.com/Nick&Jeff, or these longer videos. They're all on your favorite podcast places, so you can listen to us instead.
Yeah. Or you can do what we do and do both. Watch ourselves and then we listen on the podcast services because we're losers.
We love ourselves a lot.
I mean, I kind of do like a quality check on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, fine. And then just if I'm bored, I'll end up listening to the whole thing on podcast services. But anyway, we're getting distracted. So Jeffrey, what did we watch? Do you want to describe what this is exactly?
Well, apparently, Nick, you got really excited and told me that there was this Power Rangers movie where they're just going full nostalgic, and it's like some of the original cast.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty confused because it was getting hyped up, and I'm like, didn't one of them die? Like, I really thought one of them died.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I knew nothing about this.
Yep.
And yeah, I thought they were all coming back, but it's only some. But that's fine. I'm totally good with it. But I feel like
Yes.
it's Power Rangers for the people that watched the original Power Rangers 20, I don't know, 30, I don't know, sorry, 25-ish
30
years ago?
Yeah.
25-ish?
Yeah, 25.
Surely it would have been like, what, 6 or 7 at the height of Power Rangers awesomeness?
Yep.
I don't know, how old were we?
Yeah, I think it would have been like 1994, 1995. It come out thereabouts, and then, I mean, fact check us and we'll be terribly wrong, but we're about, we were kids, we were young kids up until maybe like 7 or 8. I think it was big, and then I remember going to see. That's the first movie. That's the first movie I can ever go into the movies to see. I can remember going back to see. So I think the movie
I've
was
gotta look it up, Nick.
1995.
When did Power Rangers movie come out?
I want to say 1995.
I've got to find out, otherwise I'll just feel dumb. 1997.
1997. There you go.
Yeah, that
So I
sounds
would have
right.
been 7. I would have been 7. You would have been 8 years old. So
And then the original movie had like sort of, is it like maybe the second gen-ish sort of a mix?
yeah. So the movie was when it was after the black, red, and yellow Ranger had left.
Yeah.
And they replaced him with the new ones that you see in the movie. So Rocky.
Wait. So the Zach in this movie, is he an original Power Ranger?
He's an original Power Ranger.
Yeah, Zach is back, baby.
Fortunately, you actually get to see Johnny Young Bosch. So he was the one who was on he was in the spaceship talking with the other Yellow Ranger. I'm not sure if you remember.
Yes, there was the two black people. Oh, I mean, I'm so bad at saying that. The two
sounds
people
terrible.
that were like in space.
Yes.
Right?
And Johnny Young Bosch, he went on, he was the one who was the Black Ranger in the movie, but he went on to do so much voice acting for games and anime. A big one for anime, like he's Ichigo in Bleach. He's like Vash the Stampede in Trigun, and like there's heaps and heaps of characters that he voices. Lelouch in Code Geass. Oh.
So obviously we had Billy, he was original Ranger. We had Zach, original Ranger, and then there was the Pink Ranger, who I think was sort of not an original, and the Red Ranger too. Like I remember the Red Ranger looking like that, right? Or
right.
Maybe like, but obviously he wasn't an original. That's like the pink and the red one. Then when they came into the movie, they were like, oh yeah, we're not original, but we're always Power Rangers together.
Yeah. So the original Red Ranger is Austin St. John. I actually met him. I have his autograph. He played
the one
Jason.
That did gay porn?
No, that was a rumor. That never happened.
Which one would? Oh, come on, it has to be true.
That was never. No, God. Anyway, so Austin St. John was Jason, and obviously he doesn't show up in this. But then Rocky was the one who shows up in the movie. Steve Cardenas is his name, but yeah, he plays Rocky, and he's obviously the Red Ranger in this new reboot. But he was the one in the movie as well. I really liked Austin St. John, and meeting him as a person, like he has been through so much. Like he was a veteran in the army, and like he works as like a paramedic, and he's done a whole bunch of tours and stuff, and obviously a great martial artist, like has his own martial arts books and stuff. But not present in this. I think he's sort of done with acting in Power Rangers now. He did do like a return episode like 10 years ago. But Jason David Frank has appeared in.
I do feel like I've seen like glimpses of other Power Ranger episodes that are still happening where that does have heaps of Rangers, right? From all different generations of it.
Yes.
Whether it's them or not, but it's definitely their suits.
Yes, that's right. But fun fact, I thought they filmed this after Jason David Frank, Tommy, had died. Turns
Green Ranger,
out,
White Ranger.
Yes. Red, black. He's been multitude of colors.
Oh, boy. Okay.
But
all right,
that's going into like turbo and all this stuff. But anyway, multitude of stuff. Anyway, he actually declined the offer. Same as Amy Jo Johnson, the Pink Ranger, Kimberly. She declined. Same thing as Jason David Frank, and Austin St. John. I actually haven't looked up what his thoughts on it were or are, but I guess obviously didn't want it being part of it either, which is why.
So, in the Yellow Ranger, like the original Yellow Ranger, she's dead too.
Yeah, I'll get her name wrong here with just enunciation, but it's like Tri Thang or something. Or thought. Hold on. Let me see if I can Google it. Thai Trang. There we go. If I'm getting that wrong, but yeah, she played Trini, and so she was the original Yellow Ranger, but she actually died in like
when did she
a car
die?
crash. She died like years and years ago. She died at like age 26 or 27 or something like that. So she was young. So I think she was in Power Rangers when she was like maybe 20-ish. But yeah, she died when she was like 27 in a car crash.
Damn. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so not Austin St. John. Jason David Frank. Yeah, Jason actually declined. He didn't want a part of it, which I thought was interesting. But
You need to tell me the color of the Ranger, otherwise I have no idea.
right, sorry. So the white Ranger declined.
I thought that was Tommy.
That is Tommy. Yes.
Oh, what name did you say before?
His real life name is Jason David Frank.
Ah, so he's got all right, and Tommy's is his name in the show, right? Yes.
Yes. Sorry. I don't know if there's a Super Power Rangers fan out there listening. They'll be like, yes, he knows the stuff, and then other ones who are just probably,
and they'll be like, Jeffrey knows nothing.
Yeah. So there are probably more people.
I'm not a super fan. I was Nick.
Yeah.
Fun fact: I remember this very clearly. Siblings teasing me, Power Rangers, amazing stuff when I was 7-year-old. The siblings would tease me, Jeffrey, will you love Power Rangers forever when you're a 40-year-old man? And I guess, look, I didn't love it the whole time, but look, I'm back now.
You're back now?
I'm back.
So this is actually...
You got more nostalgia.
This is actually my collection. Signed by Austin St. John, the original Red Ranger. I could not get Jason to sign... the original Red Ranger, and I could not get down to get the green/white Ranger to sign it when I was there that time. But anyway, I liked that when like they still had them present, so there must have been some sort of agreement being like, yeah, just use my voice for
Yes.
because yes, so their voices are in it slightly for a bit at the start. They do
Well,
like
obviously, I mean, not that we know how acting works, Nick, but I presume when you are in a TV show, we can use this TV footage of you however we like for the rest of existence. They probably sign that right away.
maybe, but yeah, you hear Austin St. John say, or maybe you hear the Red Ranger or the White Ranger say, "It's morphin' time," and then they do like a pterodactyl, Tyrannosaurus.
Well, and they all had this song at the very end of the credits anyway. Well, we'll get to that, I guess.
And then obviously, then the pink, red, and green get captured by Snizzard, the little the snake lizard dude.
Nick,
but
is there any
anyway.
other Power Ranger fantasy you want to tell the audience before we actually talk about the movie?
I know, I'm so sorry.
Any other fun facts?
I'm so excited. Like, this is how happy this thing made me that it existed. And so, carry on. I'm sorry. I've gone off on a massive 10-minute tangent for the first bit of our podcast, but hopefully you enjoyed that. Maybe the fans.
It's fine.
Like
It's just showing you're a true fan, right? You actually know what you're talking about. Have you watched? Before we get on to the movie, have you watched like any of these other later seasons of Power Rangers? Do you know anything about it?
I've watched episodes here and there. So I've watched the episode where the original Red Ranger, Austin, returns, and that was a decade ago now. And I've watched the episode, maybe like 2 or 3 episodes where the white/green Ranger, like where Tommy returns. And that was cool because that's like, it was a massive collaboration between generations and generations of Power Rangers. So like rainbow colors galore with all of them showing up in the episode. And but not really. No, I haven't obviously kept up with the show since once it went to Turbo or Power Rangers in Space or whatever. I was gone. I was too old for it anyway.
All right, Nick, the movie. The movie, it opened with all the original Power Rangers in their costumes, right? Having a little putty fight. And I thought, oh, gee, that's kind of neat. Oh, actually, did I open it with Billy?
Yeah, it opens with Billy, yeah.
Blue, yeah. And I just thought it was great. Like, all their... I think of all the choreography and, like, fighting scenes as dances, right? And they're just performing the dances in time to do these fight scenes. And it's sort of cheesy, but it's also, like, it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. So you liked the opening scene? Tell me. You talk now.
It was
you tell
great.
me about this opening scene.
I lost my shit when I'm glad I wrote my notes down. There's the 5 of them there, and the explosion happens in the background as they're walking towards the camera or whatever. I'm like, this is like, and you could end it there. That's perfect.
And the music starts. And I'm just like, oh, it's just so good. I had chills so many times watching this damn thing.
But yeah, obviously, I didn't know about the Yellow Ranger dying. I knew the green one did, or white one. But the Yellow Ranger just straight up dies.
Yeah.
Like, dead. Like they killed Trini.
Yeah, I thought it was really I thought it was really interesting because how many times in movies, have actors died and then they've just like not really shown. Like, say, let's take Black Panther for example. There was no like he was not in the movie whatsoever. There was no like, I have to go on a mission or I have to go do this or I have to go do that. It's like I was surprised they actually even killed him off. You know what I mean? Like but I guess you have to. They can't just say, oh, he disappeared or he didn't come back from another dimension or something. I don't know. But
I guess they're very fortunate here because they're in a Power Ranger suit, so it makes it pretty easy.
But even like was it Fast and Furious 7? They filmed the rest of the movie sort of as best they could, and then had that little goodbye scene, and he was just sort of gone. Whereas they just straight up murdered Trini. I was like, oh, but I guess it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I
don't think anyone's going to be offended. I thought it was cool. Like, it just gave the short movie a whole motivation, right? Like, oh wow, the Power Rangers are going to get revenge.
Wow. Well, the whole movie, it wasn't about revenge, Jeffrey.
No, it wasn't. But
it's about friendship.
I did like how they got replaced with Trini's daughter, right?
Yes.
But And then I also comparing this to like the other Power Rangers movie that was what, maybe 5 years ago, and how long it took for them to become Power Rangers, right?
And
Like
an
they
hour
didn't
and
get their
45
suits.
bloody minutes.
Yeah, they didn't get their suits until like the last 20 minutes of the movie or something. Like here's like, nah, lots of Power Rangers suit fighting action straight away.
Yep. Yeah, I loved it. It was so good. I thought, in hindsight, rewatching it back, I kind of would have liked it to have started with Billy and Alpha 5 in the command center trying to bring Zordon back and understand. Because like when it just started and Billy's on a cliff and he's like, oh, it's morphin time, and then he starts fighting putties and then calls for help. I was like, what is going on? I have no idea. And obviously they do that to have a big boom at the start, but I would have just liked a little bit more, because that backstory of what happened wasn't really that long, if that makes sense.
Nick, the whole movie wasn't that long. It was 55 minutes, and they jam-packed everything in it. I didn't mind the backstory being, shoved in like, 15 minutes later kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
It sucked me in straight away with all the action.
Okay.
I did appreciate the backstory with like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like, I haven't watched Power Rangers for 20 years.
Yeah.
So Zordon's dead. They're trying to bring back Zordon, and then, good old Billy, he's super smart, and then they find some magic dust that brings robot Rita back to life. Why is she a robot? And then like it's fully explained because she absorbs Alpha 9's like body or whatever, and that's why she's a robot. I'm like, cool, I can get down with that. That's a good enough plot for me.
Yeah. People will have to correct me with all the people that watch will have to correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure the voice is the original Alpha 5 voice. I think that voice actor came back, and also either it's a really either that or it's a really good impersonator. And the same thing with Rita. I'm pretty sure that was the same voice for Rita as well. But obviously, so that's like back in. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I think the Rita voice was like really good. Just like you hear the raspiness, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, to me in my mind, that's exactly how I remember it being.
Yeah, but I loved the fact that they obviously had so back in the day. There was a lot of any Rita that was on screen, like that's the Japanese Rita, and so the voice that was never Rita's voice, and so it was always a voiceover, and so then obviously I guess they couldn't use the original Japanese sorry, the original Japanese body, so they just used Robot Rita and just put the same voice actor over it. At least that's the impression I got. I could be wrong, but God,
you've also they didn't have to do any lip syncing.
Yeah, you're right. You've written in your notes that why do they all just stop with the fight? Which
Trini dies and they just sort of stop fighting, and like why doesn't Rita keep going? Right, like they're all just like, ha ha ha, I'm dead. I killed a ranger. See you later. I'm going to the moon.
I think it's
or something like that.
No, I think Rita says when she does the attack, like, oh, this is going to take a lot of my energy, but it'll be worth it to kill a ranger. And I think she says something like that. Like it's going to take a lot of her current power to execute such a deadly move or whatever. But
I felt like they did that actually quite a lot. There, like the character would explain why they couldn't morph, why they couldn't teleport, or why it's taking a long time to build up, the death energy portal thing or whatever, like time travel thing. Like they actually gave an explanation reason a lot of the time, which I appreciated. Like, that's why.
Yeah. So you've written in your notes here, the car just flies away. So I'm guessing like there was, you probably don't remember it, but there was an episode about the rad bug, like,
Oh, okay, all right.
That's like that. So that car was in the show. Well, I think it was in a few episodes in the show back when we were growing up. Like that was still in, as you probably just don't remember the episodes, and I guess I don't really either, but I know it was episodes about it. But I like that they express a bit more Billy's intelligence, and I guess like how much further ahead he is. That like he's like the Tony Stark.
He's
of
the
Power Rangers
Donatello.
world.
I was gonna say he's the Donatello.
Yeah, but now that he's older, he's an old man. He's like the Tony Stark. He's like rich as hell and has his own company and just can do what he wants.
Yeah, well, I think, Billy and Zach are like the main characters of the movie, right? With
Correct.
Trini's daughter, which I don't remember the name of.
Yeah.
I really liked how, okay, Trini's dead, so Zach becomes the father, essentially, to this person.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you gave up your career in Congress to be my support person or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so nice.
Yeah. And even when they're in the living room talking, and Zach's talking to Billy or David. Oh, sorry, I keep going to use their real names. So like David Yost as Billy, and also I'll stick to their Power Rangers names. I'll stick to Zach tells Billy, he's like, we have to let her know that her mother was killed by we're Power Rangers, and her mother was killed by Rita Repulsa, and she's just standing there like. It's like such a classic, just like movie trope or whatever. She's just standing there and drops her mug, like, "What? Oh my god! What an appropriate time for me to walk in and hear this awful information."
A Power Ranger.
But I really enjoyed watching this. I think like the pacing was really well, like done really well, like moment to moment. Did you? Were you bored at all throughout the whole thing?
No,
were you entertained the whole time?
No. Nick, I was on the Stairmaster, jumping up 10 flights of stairs every 10 minutes or whatever. I don't know. Like I watched the whole thing at the gym. I thought it was really great. Like I wasn't bored at all. It didn't like it could have gone on a little longer. But when I got told it was 55 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I can squeeze that into my life, right? Like very very easily. So I really appreciated it. Like, it was really good. Like, it was really. I feel like some of the acting, like, are they acting like they're trying to act on purpose as part of like the whole motif of the movie to be sort of a bit corny, a bit cheesy?
I think so. Or are they
like,
really bad
surely,
actors?
Yeah, or are they really bad actors? But I don't think so. I feel like they're probably really good actors being bad at acting on purpose.
Yes, I agree, because I think that's... I know what you mean, because I think Power Rangers is, like, that's kind of what the show is, because even if you watch it now, like, I've seen just random episodes or just scenes here and there as an adult, and it is still the same level of corniness and the same sort of awkward lines, a little bit like what I remember Home and Away being like growing up. Like, it's terrible acting, but it's also kind of like overly dramatic acting, if that makes sense. I think that's what it's supposed to be. And obviously Margot Robbie was in Home Away and Neighbours, and she turned out to be a great actor, and so like maybe that's just all how it's put on. But one thing I was really impressed by was just the visuals of the show. Like it was Power Rangers HD. I'm not sure if you got that vibe as well.
I thought like I guess graphics or whatever visual effects have come a long way. Where it obviously to me it seemed low quality, right, compared to something like Pixar or Mario Brothers or whatever, or Star Wars, but like perfectly acceptable for what we're watching, right? Like, yeah, this is fine. Like, nothing bad.
I actually wasn't talking about. I worded that poorly. I didn't actually mean the special effects. I just mean the general filming, scene by scene, like comparatively to what the show we watched which was like 240p or something, to now being like 4K, and they're using crystal clear cameras, and it was all just really nice to watch.
Well, I guess I watched it on my phone as well, so maybe you saw it more impressive than I saw it.
Maybe, yeah.
But
what else?
Perfectly fine on my phone.
Yeah. So what do you think of the battle when the white, red, and pink get captured? Like the suits still look great. The suits look amazing.
So actually, I do want to talk about some of those battle scenes. That's where they go, oh, Trini died a year ago. Let's all reunite or whatever, right? Yep. And so Rita's got her two henchmen, and I don't like. Are they new, or are they just never? Were they never there in like the original stuff? Because I don't remember those guys like whatsoever, right?
No,
they didn't pull any. You got so?
They were in the original, yeah.
They were. Well, I don't remember. I remember Goldard. I don't remember those two dudes at all. But I kind of like how they got captured pretty easily and turned into like the little figurines. Like I thought it was really neat.
Yeah.
And then that also focused the movie on, I guess, Zach and Billy and Trini's daughter, right, as well. Like there wasn't too many characters, and a perfectly acceptable in-universe story of why the original Pink Ranger and the original Red Ranger aren't, present.
Yes, I agree.
And because a lot of people, I remember reading a lot of discourse online, like, that's not the original Pink Ranger. How could they do that? Blah, blah, blah. And then the movie wasn't out, so they didn't know. They actually had a story reason of why they couldn't get those actors.
Yes, that's right. And I thought that story reason was great. I can't help but wonder if, watching that, I'll have to do a little bit more research into it now, but I wonder if Amy Jo and, so original Pink and original Red, if they've watched it and if they were like, man, I should have done that because that was really cool. I should have jumped in on that because I think that was really fun, or it looked really fun, or it looked really cool. Because that Pink Ranger is, she's completely foreign to me. Like I think I stopped watching the show as a kid, probably around the time she came in. And so I don't really remember her. I remember seeing her face, but I was like, she's not the Pink Ranger to me.
Well, so I remember the whole Pink Ranger arc of the original one disappearing and then someone else replacing her, right? I feel like I really remember that in my mind, and the episode titles were like they were related to it, like Pink Ranger dies or whatever, moves on, part 1, Pink Ranger part 2, Pink Ranger part 3, like it was named that in the episode list. And so for some reason I remember that arc
a little bit.
But anyway, she was hot. I liked the Pink Ranger mum.
Yeah, she's cool. And the enemies, like the Minotaur and Snizzard. Minotaur, I remember. I feel like he was one of Rita's monsters in the first 5 episodes. Really early on, if you go back and watch the original show, he's like one of the first creatures. And I think he was up against Zach a lot in the episode. I feel like Zach was really prominent in that episode, the Black Ranger. But yeah, it's really great. And then it cuts to a year later, and Trini dies, and the whole morph and fight, and they all get captured, and they have to work to stop Rita with her little time traveling machine. It's just really clever.
Why don't they keep using their guns? They've got these guns, and they don't use them all the time, and then sometimes they do. But they're like, oh yeah, we got guns. Zap.
So I read that in your notes, and you're gonna not be happy because you're gonna sound like a soft fan. But in the first episode, in the first episode of Power Rangers, when Zordon gives them their coins and their morphers and everything, one of the first things he tells them is never to escalate a battle unless Rita forces them to. So as far as it's, and that sort of goes back to, I guess, traditional martial arts rules and everything. It's about protection and defending. It's not about attacking and destroying and revenge and stuff. And so with their weapons, they only draw their swords, their guns, and then the Zords, Megazord, sword, and everything. Like when they need to, when they don't have a choice. When the battle starts here, they can't take them on, so they have to morph. And then after they morph, they get their weapons, and then just whatever.
That's a perfectly fine explanation. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So that's.
I did note they did use them occasionally.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't want to rush ahead. I'll get to that at the end.
Nick, this podcast is going to be longer than the movie. You got 10 minutes.
Oh god. Breakdance fighting, hip hop keto. Yeah, cool to see that come back, and cool to see the Black and Red Rangers still got some moves. Like you see Steve Cardenas, the Red Ranger, Rocky doing flips and stuff, and Zach doing a double jump split kick and everything in the diner. Really cool.
All the fight scenes are really great, really good against all the putties. That was loads of fun. Even Trini's daughter's praying mantis style. I thought it was really cool.
Oh god, yeah. I thought I did not.
I'm surprised they didn't.
You go. What are you gonna say?
I'm surprised there was a cameo of the two. Is it Borg and Skull or something? Can't remember. The gross,
Bulk and Skull,
gross dudes from the high school.
Yeah,
Bulk and Skull. There was a billboard cameo, but I'm surprised they weren't in it. For some reason, I thought they'd bring them back.
Yes, me too. When I saw the Bash of the Sun, I was like, oh, Bulk and Skull aren't in this, but because I know they still travel around together to conventions and get photos. Like they're sort of like a duo best friends that just travel around the world, going to conventions, and getting photos with people.
That could be us one day, Nick.
If only. Yeah, I like that they put in Trini's character. Trini's daughter as a character, but
I loved it. I thought it was great.
But the character and the actor herself, I was like, I'm not really a mass fan of you. Like, I didn't think she was overly interesting or charming. She was kind of lame.
I feel like, typical teenager makes the movie happen.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, fair. What else?
Nick, do you want to move on to the last bit of the movie while we got our last 10 minutes?
Yes.
Where they go to space or the moon, or I think it was the moon.
Yeah, the moon.
And then
space.
More cool fight scenes, and then of course Robot Rita, like, she dies.
Dies.
And I'm like, oh wow, okay. Right as she activates one of the lizard dudes.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Snizzard?
Slizzard or something? Slizzard?
Yeah, like he becomes like gigantic, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yes, like, here's how we're going to get the Megazord.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. So when you watch the show back in the old days, they'd sort of the parties would get hit with the weapons and then just sort of do the and fall over.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, you saw like Trini with her daggers, and she'd be like, like actually stab them, and then they'd crumble. And I'm like, oh, this is that's a little bit. I mean, as far as Power Rangers go, it goes from G to PG, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. But yes, the fight with the Megazord. What do you think of the Megazords and them using those?
What I really didn't quite get is like, I squealed when all the Megazords come out of like, the various landscapes, and one of them comes out of the volcano and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're all running, and then they just get teleported to the moon.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Like, why not?
Yeah. Let's say, like, for as much as I really enjoyed watching this, I wasn't a massive fan of the last moon battle when the Zords show up, just because it was like in the day when we watched it, it was literally just the toys, and they filmed the toys, but they used cinematography to make them look big, and there's people dressed up in the Megazord costume, and then they're having like the physical fight and everything, whereas this was all animated, and something about that didn't sit right with me. I don't know. It could just be because I'm old, but it looked.
I do agree, but do you reckon it would have, flown by today's audiences, right? If it was like, figures filmed close up.
Oh, I don't know. I'd like to see. You know what? It'll happen. Someone out there will make a fan version and just change that fight and make it the original Zord scene. Like when they all come out of their holes and everything and all running together, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. And
But even did the Megazord, did he do like the big stab on the Snizzard guy, or was that another scene?
Oh no, I think it was
done. Like, damn.
Yeah, I think that was Rocky on the Minotaur. He did like the Legend of Zelda Link downward stab.
Yeah, because there was the three of them against it, like the bow.
Yeah.
Whatever, I don't know. That was all really cool.
Yeah.
And they use their gun again somewhere in that fight.
Yeah.
I noted. Nick, once all the bad guys were sort of dead and out, there was still like over 10 minutes left, and I'm like, oh, the real Rita's going to show up. Like, I actually thought there was going to be another escalation point, and they'd like, I don't know, you'd see another fight scene or something. But no, they killed Robot Rita for real this time, and that was it, really.
Yep.
And then
I was surprised.
They had a little happy scene together. The three main characters.
I was surprised. So when they kill Rita properly, Zack uses his axe gun and like shotgun blasts her away.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
I really thought that would have been when we'd see back in the old days. It was a big thing for them to combine all of the weapons. So like they'd all say their things. They'd be like, power axe, power bow, power daggers, power lance, and then Jason or Red Ranger come in, power sword, and combine all their weapons together and turn it into a 10 barrel gun or something, and they all shoot it together.
I don't remember that.
I'll send you a clip after it's done, but I thought that's how they'd shoot Robot Reader at the end. That was the only little bit of fan service that I think was missing for me. But no,
yeah. I think the overall story, I think it was like, very comprehensive. Like, like I was satisfied. There's nothing I was like, oh man, that's dumb or that's silly. I'm like, no, they've come up with an explanation for everything. I actually really like Trini's daughter. Like, I thought it was neat to have, like, let's kill off a Yellow Ranger and replace it with a Yellow Ranger, but still in the family, once and always, or whatever the movie's called. Like, I thought it was neat. And then, Nick, the end, they're all like sitting down in the juice bar. I don't really remember the juice bar from the original very much at all. But then it's like, oh, let's just do a nice song from a clip from, the original TV series. I'm like, I don't remember the song at all, but I'm like, they're all there, all the originals.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember just sitting there watching that. I was like, oh god, I'm getting a little bit sad. What is going on? Playing and doing the having the credits roll with the song playing and showing, I guess, their young self and then their older self and the Ranger and everything. Oh, so good, so good. And then showing the Yellow Ranger and the White Ranger.
The rest in peace in loving memory. I'm like, oh wow,
just putting those there. I was like, oh man, just well done. But the music and the nostalgia, it's all there. It's all there. I really enjoyed it.
So, like, how did this happen, right? Like, we had a fully fledged film Power Rangers movie released in the cinemas, right? Brand new generation of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Then sort of nothing for a little while, and then this, I guess, I'll just say C-grade movie?
Yeah.
Right? Like, which is more nostalgic for everyone than the other big new Hollywood action style movie. Like, it's interesting how they've sort of come around full circle.
Right. Well,
not even full circle, but
like
come back to the original material.
I could be wrong, but I think this happened because Jason David Frank, the original Green / White Ranger, he's done a movie. It's probably about the same length with, I think, the YouTube channel Bat in the Sun, and it's called Legend of the White Dragon. It's the very last thing that he's recorded before he died, and they're still putting it together to edit. But it's kind of like a dark and gritty Power Rangers spin-off that I think was like crowdfunded, and it blew like astronomical numbers. And so I think David Yost, the Blue Ranger, took that to Netflix and was like, hey, look how much money this made. Like, I think and then he presented this story and was like, hey, I've had this idea for a long time, which he'd mentioned on panels and stuff, but I've had this idea for a long time. I think it would work really well. Would you guys like to fund this? And they were like, yeah. And so then tried to get as much of the original cast back as possible and did the best they could.
Did the best he could. And you know what? It was neat. I'm glad I've watched it, Nick.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I wasn't sure. I thought you'd be like, oh, this is stupid. Nick's making me watch this damn Power Rangers thing. This idiot needs to grow up. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed it.
I think it definitely hits that nostalgic trip, 20 years ago. And it kind of makes me think in my mind, was there some wee lad watching Power Rangers the same age as us? Now they're also, in their almost mid-30s. And then all of a sudden they're like a, Netflix director making TV shows with budgets of, tens of millions of dollars. And we're just sitting here making a podcast in our offices.
Maybe. I wonder how many people watched as kids and then like ended up growing up to be Power Rangers. Because there's probably a few generations there of like people our age and even younger. Yeah.
Nick,
but anyway,
there's a minute left. Wrap it up. Take us home.
Yeah.
Take us home.
No, I've talked enough this podcast.
All right, you talked enough. Please leave a comment of who the best Power Ranger is or who the hottest Power Ranger is. I wouldn't mind knowing who rocks the socks for everyone the most. In this particular movie, the Pink Ranger, she was looking fine. And actually, the Red Ranger too, he's gotten a bit chunky, and that's what I kind of like. And his whole motif was, I like eating food. I'm so hungry. I lost my noodles because of you. Just because of that, we'll end it there, and that'll make Nick so frustrated and so happy.
Oh, God.
Bye, Nick.
It's ending podcast time. Tyrannosaurus.
Jeffy you'll have to add in the bit where we actually did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we'll do. Bye.
Bye.